What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I'm going to review Episode 5 of the Halo TV series. And, well, let me say one thing I haven't said much of this entire time, and I'm more than willing, by the way, to give this show credit when it earns it, when it deserves it. That was probably the best overall episode. There was a lot of good. There was some bad. There were some pretty pointless things. There was some weird, kind of troubled acting, I guess I would say. But overall, this episode, it was the shortest, I think, by a lot. I think not counting the recap in the beginning, when he puts on the suit and they're making the music and it says Halo, and then not counting the ending, this episode is probably 35 minutes, which I think is probably at least 10 minutes shorter than the next shortest. So this was a very short episode. I know I saw they fight at the end. Covenant, Chief, sweet, very good. And I saw that on Twitter, like a 5-second clip, and I was like, well, that's cool. And then when you click on the episode, it's the shortest episode, so you're like, well, I guess I can understand why they put the fighting in the shortest episode, because they probably can't afford to do it, the whole time. I would say, though, this episode was propped up by more than so there was about 10 minutes, maybe, of fighting. It was pretty good. I'd argue, actually, I think it's very easy to say, this was a lot better, the fighting, than Episode 1. Episode 1's fight was pretty solid. There was a lot of graphical issues. There was the forgetting to finish props. There was, and some of the things done in this episode in terms of the visuals weren't so good. When Chief drags the Banshee into the explosion, and then the after impact on the soldiers on the ground looked pretty horrible. Some of the explosions in the beginning of the fight, when they were kind of like dropping bombs basically on like a trail, that looked pretty bad. But I would overall very easily say I enjoyed that fight. Best part of the episode, easily. But also, I will give the show more. I will. More than just that. See, I'm able to, by the way, change my mind, ebbs and flows. More than just that fight, this episode was, again, I think the most enjoyable. There was a little bit of conflict that I liked, specifically with Chief, right, and Halsey. That was good. Chief and Cortana kind of made a comeback where talking and I think it was episode 3, right? I said the Cortana stuff when she's talking to him, not like there, not physically there. When she's in his head and they're talking, I really liked. The dynamic's pretty okay. It's a different dynamic than the games, but it's a pretty solid one. She's pretty funny. She really is, I think, the closest you could argue to her gaming count. Well, not just the voice, right, but also how she kind of carries herself, and I think that's probably because she knows the character more than everybody combined on that show. Jen Taylor probably knows Cortana, more. So that was a better, relationship, those two talking to each other. And there was some, I laughed. I will be dead honest. I laughed at one of the scenes. I think it was, when he says, like, stop talking, you'll do anything for me, and she says yes. He says, stop talking, I can't hear myself think, and she said, well, I can, and there's not much there, or whatever she said. That was good. I like that. That was really solid. Some of the more, like, the Miranda Keyes stuff, not so good in terms of just, we continue to and I know this is a show thing, because you have to do this in order to make the show longer. There are conversations that always happen in shows, particularly this one, because we're talking about it, where they don't say things that are pretty obvious from their standpoint of why they're doing select things, and they don't say it to add tension to the scene, to add tension in between the characters in the one episode and then going forward. And that was really evident here, where they're not telling each other. The Chief stuff, obviously, they're trying to hold information back, but sometimes to each other, they're purposely, because of the show, not because of their character, not saying easy things to say that would resolve the issue a little bit more. So that was annoying. The Kwan stuff, I can't even believe was in the episode. So I'm not going to say this was a perfect episode, because it wasn't. I would say maybe a good episode. I don't understand why we keep saying this. Each episode gets worse with her. Horrible. To the point that she is just somebody you introduced in the first episode that, for whatever reason, you decided we need to hold on. They maybe tried to negotiate one episode, and she said, no, I want the whole series. And they said, well, we have nothing to do with you. So what we're going to do in this episode is it was nothing but filler. We're going to actually, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put you in a desert, and you're going to walk handcuffed 5 feet, and that's it. That's your arc in this episode. You're going to try to break free of the handcuffs. You're going to make it 5 to 10 feet. You will wait for Soren to come back. You will zap him, and then you will make it look like you're going to shoot him in the face because he's been such an evil, evil person to you so far. Protecting you, telling you you can't fight when you know you can't fight, telling you you shouldn't do things when you know you shouldn't do things, putting you and him in very dangerous situations that could get both of you killed, even though he says not to. He's done all the wrong things, and so he deserves to get shot in the head. No, he doesn't get shot in the head, but, like, that's horrible. So anytime it was on Chief and all that stuff, cool. I did think the one Chief moment I thought was pretty stupid was when he told whatever her name is, the girl with the dyed hair, you know, you're not fit for combat because you took out the thing. And then immediately you think, well, you did too. And then she says it, and then Cortana says it, and it's like, yeah, that was just a stupid. It didn't even really matter because she left. I guess I did like kind of the arc where it's like, it makes sense that you don't want someone like that out in the field because ultimately, and they showed what happens, she's not used to, like, feeling. So when she's seeing her soldiers around her bleeding and dying, that's going to have an impact on her that she's never felt before. And so, yes, she really wouldn't be. So, like, I get it. He can hold himself together better because he's Master Chief and she's not. You know, so he's better. And that's fine. That's actually okay. You know, so, like, I get it, but it was just in the moment, it was like, well, you know how stupid that sounds, right? Like, you're telling her she's not combat ready, but, like, you probably then wouldn't be, so, like, it's just dumb. So that's what I'm talking about in the beginning of this video, right? Some lines is like, that's just, you don't need to say that. That's just dumb. Some of the acting, I think, was actually pretty bad, too. So, like, you know, there was things here and there, but overwhelmingly, this was the best episode. It had the best kind of banter, the Covenant side of things. Fine. I don't love the idea that they're again. The only thing this blessed one can do is disguise herself as a human because she is one and trick other people into letting her in. She did that with the ship. She's doing that now. Like, it's the only thing she can do. And it's just, at what point do you kind of call BS and say, how stupid are these people, right? Where it's like, why does one escape pod come down? It makes no sense for that to happen. She comes out. If they're going to trust her in the next episode, or even give her a little leeway, it would be mentally ill to do something like that. And specifically a strategic, like, military point of view, it makes no sense. You would not do that. So I'm interested to see how that goes because I assume they're going to give her a little too much leeway and then she's going to take advantage of it, obviously. And so, you know, that kind of stuff, that makes me mad almost. Like, it's like, they shouldn't be that stupid. But overwhelmingly, again, I don't think this is a good show. I would never recommend this show to anybody. You know, I want to stay true. I think this was the best, I think I talked myself into it. This was probably the best episode of the series. It wasn't amazing. I would never watch, you know, stuff like that. But I will say, again, to give them credit, if this is like a trajectory, they're going in the right. I think there's 9 episodes. This is 5. So we got, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 4 more. If this is the start to something more but at the same time, it's just the way they've paced out these fights. And the fight really does propel it. Let's be real. It does. If you don't have that fight, right, the episode loses a lot. So they've had a fight in 1, and they've had a fight in 5. Literally 2 through 4 had absolutely nothing. Nothing. Okay. I guess, okay, you can nitpick, but let's be real. So if that's how we're gonna take it, 6, 7, 8 most likely won't have. Maybe 8, but 6, 7, doubtful. There's going to be a lot of fighting. And then 8, 9, or just 9, there'll be a huge, probably the biggest thing that we've seen. And that's cool. And I get it. You can't have a huge thing every time. But I'm just, again, like, when we're talking about the trajectory, right? Can they keep it going? They're going to have to lean more now into the story and characters. And that's been their worst thing that they've done. And so I don't know if I trust that going forward. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on so you know all these videos go up every week. I do a new review, so every Thursday come back for the next episode. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.